Hi, I have a story time for y'all. So, my mom and dad got pregnant with me when they were in the early 20s. Like, my mom was only 20, my dad was probably like 23 at the time. Um, but my dad was a huge smoker of the green variety. And after I was born, my mom's very conservative Alabama religious family was like, yeah, he can't be a part of her life. I don't want him around her. I don't want him to see her. Nothing like that. He needs to leave the picture. And then they said, well, we found this nice young man for you, for you to marry, so that your daughter grows up in a stable environment. Blah 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 blah, whatever, you know, the way society thinks life should be. And so anyway, my mom marries this man, and then when I'm 2, he decided he wanted to adopt me. And then my sisters came along, and then 7 or 8 years old is when I saw my adopted dad hitting my mom in the front yard. And that's when I learned the ugly truth about that. Then the divorce ruled in his favor to have custody of the 3 of us. My sisters are his biological children, but I'm not. That messed me up. Then he marries a woman, and she has 2 boys, and we move into her house. And everything was fine in the beginning, and then, I mean, I was a kid, so I don't really remember much. All I know is that life went from okay to living hell. If I vented to a friend, it somehow made it back to their ears. I was abused mentally and physically from like the age of 9 or 10 to my 15th birthday. On my 15th birthday, I was abused by my adopted father, and I moved out of his house. But my whole life growing up, I've always felt different, not like any of them, not like any of my adopted family. Like, I felt like I was an outsider the whole time. Because why do I not feel normal? Why is life not as easy for me as it is for everyone else? Like, why am I getting my butt handed to me every single night while everyone else is just living comfortable children lives? So yeah, that messed me up for a while. And then all the labels that were put on me as a kid, I held on to them because I thought that they were right. You know, if an adult says you're this or that, okay, well, that's obviously how I am. So I lived with all of these labels and all of these identities, and I mentally spiraled for years. And then I turned 21, and then I kept trying to find my answers at the bottom of a bottle. Realized that wasn't the right road to go down, so stopped doing that. But when I was 20, I did finally decide to find my dad and have a relationship with him. We had a good run for 10 years. Unfortunately, he passed away on my 30th birthday. That was 2 years ago. And I've always had an off and on relationship with God. I definitely have never had a relationship with the church. I was forced to go to church for 15 years, and then I finally put my foot down and I said, I'm not doing that anymore. But I also wasn't really you know, on good terms with God at that point. Like, I was in a very dark place for a very long time. But then after my dad died, and this was this past summer, 2025, I knew that he always liked to be in the woods. That was his favorite place to be. That's where he went and talked to God. So I looked up, where's somewhere I can like go hiking in the area. The closest one to me was called Rainbow Mountain. And I take my dog and we go there. And we started out on the trail, but then he veered off and I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, all right, cool, we're going on an adventure. At one point, we walked this same path 3 times because I kept noticing there was like rocks stacked on top of each other, and I kept noticing, I was like, I done passed these twice now. And on the 3rd time, I was like, hold up. So we stopped right there. I was like, we're not going any further. I'm stopping right here. And I just started yelling at God. I was like, okay, I get it. I've been going in circles my whole life, and I need to stop. I need to break the pattern. I need to fix things. I need to do something different. And I yelled. I was mad and upset. And oh my gosh, the journey I went on after I left that rock. We ended up on the other side of the mountain, an hour and a half away from my car. It's middle of summer. We're hot. We're running out of water. I don't really have any snacks with me. Because I wasn't really thinking things through. I just thought we was going to go on a cute little, hour walk and then come home. Anyway, we ended up in a neighborhood, and I was like, well, let's not go back through the mountain. Let's just, go on the road, the main road. And after about an hour of walking, I was like, I am so tired. We still got 45 more minutes left to walk. My dog's slowing down. He's no longer walking in front of me. He's now walking more behind me. And I was like, all right, when I get to the end of this road and turn the corner, we're going to stop at this house, because I saw that there was a couple of trucks in the driveway. And I was like, hopefully they'll just let us jump in the back of the truck in the bed and, give us a ride back. Because, driving, it was only going to be 3 or 4 minutes. So I get to the house, and there is a doormat that says blessed. And then there's a huge blue cross hanging on the door. And I was like, maybe God has led me here, and these people are going to help me. Because, they seem like good Christian folks. Knocked on the door, this guy answers, and I'm using every bit of strength I have to talk calmly. Well, he was rude and shut the door in my face. And I was like, all right, well, obviously that was my sign, and I just need to keep walking. Well, we start walking, and we're getting closer to the next house, and my dog walks up and sits on the front porch, and I was like, bro, I'm not asking nobody else. We're just gonna do this ourselves. And he just would not move. He would not budge. He was just sitting there. I said, fine, I will knock, but if they say no, we gotta go. And this sweet old lady answered the door. I didn't know her. She didn't know me. But I had zero strength left in me to say anything to her. And I just started bawling my eyes out. I was hot, tired, exhausted, hungry at this point. Probably very dehydrated. And she said, "Hey, come around to the garage." So I go around to the garage. She brings me water and a Gatorade and a wet washcloth so I could cool down. And then brings my dog a bowl of water. She was probably one of the nicest people I've ever met. Anyway, so I did all that. I got home, I showered, I laid down. And I just prayed. Because I have been so stuck in my head for so long, thinking something's wrong with me. I'm messed up. Why is life so hard? Why can I not control my anger? Why can't I just be happy and normal? So yeah, I found God that day on Rainbow Mountain. And I've been working relentlessly, listening to different religions and philosophies and psychology so I can fix my brain, because adults broke me and I refuse to stay broken any longer. So that's why I'm making these videos, so maybe something I say will click with someone and help them too. Anyway, love y'all, bye.